What up, Fightful friends and family? Sorry for yelling, but it was chaos behind the scenes. Sean Ross Sapp, much like the NWO, invading our stream, taking over, and eventually, the fall. But here we are back again for a Fightful Wrestling Roundtable. Thank you so much for your patience. We're back with another stellar lineup. First, to my right, I think, on the screen, he is, of course, from Inside the Ropes, doing the best, most candid interviews with all your favorite stars, from Chris Jericho to Matt Hardy to The Undertaker. Well, we tried, Kenny McIntosh, how's it going, my man?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm very happy to be here. We got to have a nice chat off screen while you had a meltdown over technical issues, so it's all good.
That's my best. And, of course, former WWE Superstar, turncoat, perhaps. You know she's been with the Dubs because, much like Riddle, much like Theory, only got one name going for her these days. Izzy, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on today. I'm so excited to be on just with a great panel. We're going to have a lot of fun. We have a lot to talk about as well. So when you sent me that list of topics, I was like, wow, that's a lot of stuff, but it's going to be good. It's going to be interesting.
Well, we'll see what we can get to. Andrew Zarian might have to push back his meeting at this rate. Speaking of which, y'all know who he is. Been a little incognito as of late when he's not breaking big news stories. Recovering on the mend, much like half of AEW's roster. From the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Andrew Zarian, how's it going, dude?
Hey, man, what's going on? Listen, I'm glad I'm here. I am on the mend. This bad hip's not keeping me away from doing this. I'll tell you that.
No. Well, fortunately, you can stay put. We won't get too much movement out of you this week. Guys, let's jump into it because we wasted enough time. We know we got stuff to talk about. Let's start right here. Every week, there is a report that Sasha Banks has been released, that Naomi has been released, that we're doing this, we're doing that. Shout out to Sean Ross Sapp for breaking the news about some of the bookings Sasha's doing outside the scenes. But it kind of begs the question. This was a conversation I've had sort of in private with people. We don't really know what's going to happen at this point. Obviously, we have no official word on where Sasha and Naomi are at, but the names have been removed. There's conversations going on behind the scenes. At the end of the day, Sasha and Naomi are really the only ones who know what is in their best interests. But from the outside looking in, I would love to get everyone's thoughts on, as a fan, what would you like to see from Sasha Banks next? Kenny?
The Sasha one's very complicated, as I'm sure the guys are going to talk about as well. In that, she's had this button-hedged relationship with WWE for a while. They book her and stuff. She doesn't like it. There's all these kind of fallouts that seem to be happening. And I think that for her, if she was to make the jump to go to AEW, it's a big risk because outside of Britt Baker, if we're really honest, none of the women really get pushed to Britt's level. So it would be a risk for her to go there. So can she find a way to go back to WWE? She'll make loads of money. I guess the stickler is going to be, can she sort of put the past behind her and, start afresh with them? And only she knows the answer to that. I just want to see her wrestling on TV and doing her thing in a way that she's happy. I don't want to see her have to kind of continuously take sabbaticals for different reasons if it's something that's detrimental to her health.
Izzy?
I really think for both Sasha and Naomi, I think they are two talented women, so they can pretty much go wherever they want and do whatever they want. I know it doesn't have to be inside the pro wrestling world. As much as I would love to see Sasha and Naomi back in the ring because they are two great pro wrestlers, Sasha has that acting career. We saw her in The Mandalorian and she did a great job. And we see a lot of people who dabble into the Star Wars universe and that's where they stay for the rest of their career. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I think that's a really good spot for her. But like I said, she can pretty much go wherever she wants. As for Naomi, she has that dancing career with her. There's, like I said, there's so much for both of them that they can do. I see so much potential wherever they end up, whether it is in AEW or it's with another company or it's outside the pro wrestling world. I think they're really going to take whatever industry they're going to go into by storm.
Andrew?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. There's a lot of a lot of uncertainty whether or not, if Naomi goes or Sasha goes to AEW, and if it's a better run than what WWE was able to do. Listen, I hear all the criticism from Sasha fans, especially, right? Sasha and Naomi fans. But if I'm going to focus it in, a lot of Sasha fans, they feel frustrated on how she's presented on TV. She's there for a while. She's not there for a while. They put her in a tag. Frustration makes people do some crazy things. Whether or not this is the best decision for them, I don't know. I don't know what the best decision for them is. They were both in a key program. They were tag champions. They were facing the individual women's world champions at the pay-per-view. They felt unheard. They felt unappreciated, and they walked out. I don't think they did the wrong thing. I'm a big believer on however you feel, whatever makes you happy, that's what you should do. I don't know if them showing up on AEW TV is going to be the answer to solve, whatever frustration they have with WWE. It could be great. They'll have a great time, but maybe not. Maybe an unpopular opinion. I kind of like them in WWE. I thought they were an asset for sure for their division. They were both tremendous athletes. I think they would muster better in WWE than they would right now showing up in AEW with, the uncertainty over there with their booking right currently.
What do we think? I'm going to focus in on Sasha just for a second, because I feel like there is a little more to work with in terms of like what we know about her and other pursuits. Do you think The Mandalorian was more a consequence of her ability and desire to branch out as an actress, or was it more the WWE tie? Like, how much success do we think Sasha is going to have in Hollywood if that's the pursuit she's passionate about without the WWE vehicle behind her?
I would. It depends. It depends on her management team and her agents. She's very talented. From people that I know that were on that set for The Mandalorian, they said that she was very easy to work with. She was very appreciative. She was just fantastic. All positive stuff. Acting is a very different beast, but some people make it and they're able to do tremendous things. We've seen that happen. I don't know if it was WWE that got her that.
No,
gig.
I don't think
I
it
can't
was.
remember
But I
if
mean,
it was.
is she in a position to get significant acting roles if she's not WWE superstar Sasha Banks?
I think there is definitely some. I mean, if you look at, this is a different situation, but if you look at Sable in China in the late 90s when they left, they weren't able to capitalize on what they had when they were Sable in China because they couldn't use the name or whatever. But I think the difference with Sasha is that I think it's a different time now, and I think people are more aware, and I think that she's clever enough and smart enough. If you ever see her do interviews, she would make it work. She's not someone who's just going to sit back and just think opportunities are automatically going to come her way. She's going to work for it, whether it's in wrestling or out wrestling. I think in wrestling, she still has a point to prove in her own mind wherever she goes, whatever she does. But like Izzy said, if she was to go over to, do more Star Wars stuff, she could do that forever. I'm not worried about her in terms of getting opportunities. I think she's going to be fine. But I do think the initial opportunity she got, part of her being in WWE had to be a reason, right? Because that's where she was a big star.
Yeah, we have someone in the comments section saying it was actually the Hot Ones appearance she did, but she got that as a WWE superstar, so I feel like there's still a tie-in. Izzy, did you have anything you wanted to add to this?
Yeah, if her being a WWE superstar didn't get her the role with The Mandalorian, if like that wasn't the main reason, like that, oh, Sasha Banks is a WWE superstar, it's just her, then I think she's going to be fine. Mm-hmm. Like I said, wherever she goes, whatever she does, I think she's really going to make some waves. I really believe she's going to pursue the acting career because I think there is a lot there for her. And like I said, like, I have seen so many like people who have gone into the Star Wars universe and like that's where they stay. And like I'm one of those people who are like looking at like the convention websites and it's like, oh my God, I watched them on Star Wars. And so like I could see her being on that type of website and being at the conventions and going to the Star Wars celebration, whatever. Like I think that might be her place, but like I said, I think she'll be great. She's so talented to pretty much do whatever. I was even thinking she could launch her own brand, possibly, whether that's makeup or hair, whatever that is. I think legit she can do. There's a lot of options for her, for sure.
Okay, last thing on this before we move on. For both Sasha and Naomi, we hear people talking about, oh, well, it'd be great to see them ply their trade in Stardom or a big coup for Impact. We've seen this with other major WWE superstars. Once they leave, sometimes the asking price is too high. Can we see a world where if Sasha and Naomi wrestle outside of WWE, that realistically it would be anywhere but AEW?
As far as financially goes, both of them are very well paid, popular, wrestlers in that company. I don't know what AEW's budgeting is right now for contracts because, we've seen them grab everybody possibly that they could. I don't, or maybe it's not even about getting that kind of money. Maybe it's about your happiness. I think for Sasha's case, if she feels, and from what everybody, and this isn't anything I know or was told, but I think it's anybody. You're a performer. You put all this time in your work. You make it to the big leagues, right? You go to WWE. You become, I don't know if she's a millionaire. Let's say she's a millionaire. I would assume she is. You become this big giant star, but at one point, she's passionate about pro wrestling. She's not
no doubt
passionate about being just the WWE superstar and just taking a paycheck and going home. So I think that she could definitely go to AEW for less money, maybe in some sort of scenario, and put on some unbelievable matches. I just feel, I feel this is a very, WWE's handling of this is the bigger story for me.
Oh, certainly.
Because this was a dropped ball for sure. And, some of this stuff, maybe they dropped the ball because they were too distracted with the Vince scenario. There's a lot of moving parts. I can't imagine how they could let both of them leave the company like that. Bad optics.
Agreed. Fully agree. I mean, let me talk. I mean, talk about, I've never been as uncomfortable as watching Michael Cole have to sit there and sort of like tear Naomi and Sasha shred. Just icky. And thank God they didn't make poor Pat McAfee do that one. Guys, let's move on. And before you ask, I'm not dying. I reset the stream and my white balance is all out of order. I'm alive. In fact, having talked to everyone here, other than Izzy, I'm perhaps the most alive, really, truly. Topic. Speaking of people who are worse for wear, though, let's talk about the AEW roster. I mean, Forbidden Door was a fantastic event, but going into it and coming out of it, it was very clear that there's a lot of people they wanted on that show that were not present, at no fault of their own. CM Punk getting injured very shortly after capturing the world title from Hangman Page. Bryan Danielson is out for a period of time. It's just Adam Cole, Kenny Omega's still not back yet. The AEW roster is dropping like flies. This is kind of a two-part question. The first thing I'd like to tackle, in spite of all this, how well do we think AEW has been pivoting and sort of managing to work around these? Let's give it on a scale of 1 to 5. We'll start with Izzy. How happy are you with what AEW's managed to put together, considering all the injuries that they've had kind of fall in their lap?
I think they have done a great job. It is not easy to continue to put on a great show week after week with some of your main pillars gone due to injury. It's not easy. And I applaud AEW for being able to put on a great show every Wednesday. I still tune in. I love CM Punk. I love Adam Cole. They're currently not on AEW anymore, but I'm still tuning in and having a great time watching the show. I think now is the time for more of the younger stars in AEW to really step up, and we have seen that for the past few weeks. And I'm not saying that, they haven't been in the spotlight because of the main pillars. They've been there. I'm just saying, this is a really good time to start showcasing them and shining the spotlight on those younger stars we see in AEW.
Andrew?
I would, if I'm going to rank it out of 5, I would say they've done a pretty good job. I would say 4.5 star. I guess I have to. This is part of the deal with the Observer. I don't know if you know that. I have to compare everything to star ratings. That's just in the contract. So when my wife makes dinner, it's a star rating. When I make dinner, she has to give me a star rating. That's just how it works. I think they've done a good job. Now, here's the big problem here, though, right? these are all very highly recognizable names. Especially, a Bryan Danielson, a CM Punk. Those are huge casual wrestling fan names that they would recognize. I think same thing for Kenny, maybe a little less because Kenny was not in WWE, but they've done a tremendous job at pivoting and trying new things and giving people like Takeshita, right?
Perfect example.
That guy is, by all accounts, unless something terrible happens, that guy is a future top tier star in professional wrestling. Maybe not AEW, maybe not WWE, but definitely, maybe in Noah, maybe in New Japan. This guy has it. There's something very special about him. They also did a great job at featuring Clark Connors on that New Japan joint show, which a lot of people were surprised how good that match turned out. I think they've done a good job at pivoting, but you're going to run out of those pivots. You can only pivot so long. We'll see what the rating is for tomorrow, because that show is pretty much on Eddie Kingston and Jericho to bring in a million or plus viewership. They definitely have taken a hit, but I don't think it's as detrimental as some people would hope it is, I guess, if you're a detractor of theirs.
Kenny.
I feel like because I'm not going to be as positive that I sound like a Debbie Downer now, but I'm really not on this one. Like, I think they have done a good job. I would give it a 3, to be honest with you, because I think one of the things that I've struggled with a little bit with AEW programming is the amount of different people that come in and out, and it's kind of a bit all over the place sometimes, with New Japan people coming in and then they're gone, then one guy gets pushed for a week and then he's away for 3 weeks, and it's kind of, touch and go. To me, Adam Page, why is he not in a more prominent position? Why is he not doing more on the show? I think he's someone who absolutely should be doing more. Darby Allin, I'd love to see him featured a little bit more. So I think that hopefully coming out of this, by having these people out, they can focus on other people. But I think, for the amount of injuries they've had to deal with, the fact that, as Izzy said, every week it is still a stacked show, regardless of whether it's new people or current people. I think they can definitely hold their heads high. They've done a decent job with it.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with you, Kenny. I think early iteration of AEW did a better job of telling a select number of stories over a few months before cycling people in and out. I don't know if it's because of the injuries. They've been forced to sort of scrap a lot of planned storylines and pivot suddenly. Maybe that's why it feels so disjointed. But I agree, especially trying to sort of give Ring of Honor enough promotion ahead of their next pay-per-view. There's a lot going on, but if you ask me, like, what are the 3 biggest storylines happening right now? I mean, Christian Cage, Jungle Boy comes to mind, but Jungle Boy hasn't been there for weeks. Obviously, as part of the story, it makes sense, but we're kind of waiting for that. Otherwise, I guess
where's
you'd
MJF?
say, yeah.
Is MJF coming back? Are we going to get, because it feels like with that storyline, it was so hot when he did that promo on June 1st, and now it's just starting to, it's starting to dip, the momentum's starting to go. So I'm hoping that he's going to come back soon.
So are you not in favor of the long play here with MJF?
I just don't know if people. I think people are still going to go nuts for it when he comes back and does something. But I think especially now when you have all these injuries, it's a perfect time to do something with MJF, even if it's him front row with a ticket, being smarmy or whatever. I think there's a way to do something with him to make him part of the show.
All right, guys, I know we're a little short on time despite the late start. I'm very sorry for that. So let's get on to topic number 3. I'll try and wrap up with some quick Q&A. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the super chat. Make sure to make up for with the next roundtable. We'll go extra long, but just perfect time. Throw those in super chat. We'll get to those right after we talk about this. Ric Flair's last match. I have an interview with Conrad Thompson probably coming out like a day or two before we close out StarCast with what I think is shaped up to be, honestly, a really, really great card. There is still some trepidation over Ric Flair getting back into the ring, especially after... What did we just find out he's dealing with? Plantar fasciitis? Can't even tell you what that means. I just know it's a thing, and it's got people concerned. I talked to Conrad Thompson, and giving a little bit of teaser for that interview that is coming out. Keep in mind, they are not only longtime friends, they are, at this point, related through marriage. And Conrad sort of framed it as, it really upset him to see what Ric Flair's actual last match was, and that a lot of these retired legends don't get the proper send-off that they deserve. He frames this as what he hopes will become a trend where StarCast and his functions can sort of serve as a proper farewell for legends who may not have gotten their fair shake. Without hearing his words for themselves, does that give you any more comfort than you had going in? And in general, how do you feel about the way they've announced it? Andrew, we'll start with you.
I don't have as much of an issue with him wrestling as a lot of other people do. The guy, I mean, I think in interviews, I heard him say that, you know, he has doctors that have been screening him throughout this entire process. You know, and this is a guy that's been training for months and months and months with this. He has a pacemaker, which is a little concerning. But you know, if they do it the right way, it's a tag match. He's only in there a couple minutes, and people get that big moment, that big send-off moment afterwards. I think a lot of people are going to go. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a 5-star match. Again, see, star ratings. It doesn't have to be a 5-star match to make people happy. I think if you get something a lot of fun, that's fun, you're gonna get it. And listen, you got Jarrett there, you got Jay Lethal, and you got and you got Andrade to carry that whole thing. Make this into a hot tag moment. Flair comes in, does woo woo woo, chop chop chop, and puts a figure 4, and you know, does a couple things. I think they could do it perfectly, but it really depends. You know, I don't know if we're gonna just get a hot tag. I think he's gonna, you know, bleed all over the place. He's gonna try something. I really don't want him to do that buckle flip, you know, the turnbuckle flip that he hasn't been able to do for a long time. You know, it's Rick. I think he'll get through it. I hope there's no major problems for anybody in that match. But I you know, sometimes you gotta think, you know, maybe they know what they're doing. Conrad's not a dumb guy. This guy is a total pro. He's a business. I mean, everything he's touched has turned to gold, really. So I think he has enough foresight in having his father-in-law in that match to know that he's going to be protected and he's fine to do the match. I don't think Conrad would put him in there if he had, you know, a major problem. By the way, that thing that he has, it's the band. It's an inflammation on the heel. I didn't know this. It's called policeman's heel also.
So the strut might be affected, is what we're saying.
The strut might be affected, yeah.
Oh, no.
Kenny.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why some people might not be thrilled at the prospect of him wrestling, but I mean, you know, I don't, like Andrew said, I don't think Conrad's putting him in this scenario, and if he's fearful for him, you know, he's been training for months. I'm sure it's been checked out. I think it's cool that he's going to get this send-off. You know, Kurt Angle's last match was with Baron Corbin, so you know, I can understand why some people want to have a better moment, and if this now becomes the new thing where Conrad can have a legend have their last match in this environment, you know, why not? Like, Ric Flair's done tons for the wrestling industry. People love him. And I think everyone who goes to the event or buys it is going to be somebody who wants to see it. So I think that they'll be in good hands. And the tag match, the angle they did with Jarrett was tremendous. I thought it was really, really clever. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. Excited and slightly terrified to see what he's going to do.
Izzy.
You know, I don't know why, but this topic means like I don't like it has like some sort of a special meaning to me because, you know, I've seen the comments about Ric Flair having his last match, and in a way, like, I have kind of gone through what he's been through where people are like, you shouldn't have a match, because I had my first match when I was 10, so like I will never forget the comments that I've received. So I like, for me, and this is how I went into my match, and this is what I think we should really consider and put into consideration, is that if the trainers are fine with it, if the promoters are fine with it, if the people that are going to be in the match are fine with it, then I don't see a problem with it. I'm sure Rick has gone to his doctors several times to make sure that he's okay to wrestle one last match. So, like I said, I don't think there's an issue with the match. I think everybody in this match, Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, Andrade, I think they're going to put on a phenomenal match. It's going to be something that we're never going to forget. I mean, did we think 5 years ago that we're going to see Ric Flair's last match? I mean, at least I didn't. Like, this is kind of cool for me. Like, I grew up watching Ric Flair, and I admire him, and I was like, wow, I'm excited to see his last match. This is exciting. Is it going to be scary a little bit? Yes, I don't want to see Ric Flair get hurt, but I think it's going to be something that we're never going to forget. And like I said, if everybody involved in this match is okay with it, then I think Ric Flair, he's going to be okay.
Ric Flair and Izzy, brothers and sisters in arms in the pro wrestling ring. Who would have thought?
We can
relate in a way.
We should break the news to Andrew. Andrew, I don't think Flair's match is going to hit 5 stars. I think you should
No. I don't expect it.
Oh,
no,
yeah,
there's no. I'm not even
emotions, my man.
6.5 on emotions. Yes, it's a 6.5 star emotion match. Okay. But as far as in ring goes, I have no idea. I don't know what to expect.
Okay, guys, I know we got to get out of here, so we're gonna do one Q&A, and we'll wrap up if that's okay with the three of you. Just very quickly though, I can't go without this. We got to throw to my man Sean Ross Sapp for about a minute, so he can tantalize the sweaty glands of your guilty juices or whatever it is.
StarCast 5 looks to be the biggest yet, July 29th through 31st in Nashville, Tennessee at the Fairgrounds, capped off by an insane card underneath Ric Flair's last match. You got the Briscoes versus Von Erichs, Motor City Machine Guns versus the Wolves. You've got Rachel Ellering, Deonna Purrazzo, Jordan Grace in a 3-way knockouts match. Impact champion Josh Alexander defending against Jacob Fatu. Killer Cross and Harry Smith in a rematch of their great Bloodsport match. You got Clark Connors against Ren Narita. You got Ray Phoenix, Bandito Taurus, Laredo Kid in a 4-way match. And then Ric Flair's final match. And that's in addition to the great panels. They're reuniting the Talking Smack team of Renee Paquette for sessions with Bryan Danielson. You've got Saraya turning the page, the last ride of the Four Horsemen, and Bret Hart talking about that historic British Bulldog SummerSlam match 30 years later. If you're going to be in Nashville, head over to StarCast.com for more information on StarCast tickets, meet and greets, and last match tickets. But just because you're not there doesn't mean you don't have to miss the action. Ric Flair's LastMatch.com. You can pre-order the event. You can watch the incredible docuseries Ric Flair, The Last Match, with new episodes every Monday at 6:05 p.m. StarCast 5.
Thank you, Sean. I could not hear you, but I know it was about StarCast. I know it's going to be great. All right, let's finish on this super chat from Daniel R., and we'll get out of here, guys. I'll just probably throw it to one of you. 2 questions. What is next for Hangman? Kenny, since you were the most upset about the way Hangman...
anything would be better than what he's doing now. Like, the guy was the world champion. He wasn't in the Battle Royal. Now he's just not... He put him in a match with Moxley in a big Dynamite episode and in a title match. That's what he needs to be doing next. All
right. And we will leave this one with Andrew. StarCast. All right, we'll leave this one with Andrew. Just watching a few matches of Cesaro's, Claudio's. Never WWE champion. Why? Why did the WWE never go all in on Cesaro?
They didn't think he's a good promo.
Were they right?
I mean, is he a promo like a Paul Heyman? And no, absolutely not. But I don't think you need to be a great promo to be a world champion. I think you need to just have it, whatever it is. He has it, but he doesn't. He wasn't a promo guy, I guess, and they pushed him, they pulled him back, they pushed him, they pulled him back. Unfortunately, he wasn't going to be the man in that company. I think we could kind of assume like what they look for, and it wasn't Cesaro, unfortunately. But I think he's going to have an unbelievable run on the Indies and in AEW for the next however long, or Ring of Honor, right? He's facing the champion.
Well, you mentioned that he's no Paul Heyman on the mic. Almost like they could have maybe paired the two. That could have been something very special. But I guess,
amazing, yeah.
I guess we'll never know. Yeah. Okay, guys, we got to get out of here. I'm so sorry for the late start, for the short length. We will make it up to you, promise. We'll be back soon with another stacked lineup. Let's give everyone their flowers. We got them out of here. Kenny, please tell everyone where they can find you, my man.
There's loads. We've got a magazine that's in some Barnes and Nobles in the States, InsideTheRopesMagazine.com. We've got a YouTube channel. We do loads of interviews, youtube.com/InsideTheRopes. We've got a news site that is not trying to compete with Fightful because we're all friends, ITRWrestling.com.
Don't go there. Izzy!
You guys can find me pretty much everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and now on TikTok. For Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, it's Izzy Mania. And then just for TikTok, it's just Izzy Mania. You can shop my pro wrestling tees. And then you can also shop homage.com, where they also sell the Izzy Mania t-shirt. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
Izzy, future pro wrestling, current and future star, as we all age out and she takes over the TikTok sphere. Andrew Zarian, please tell everyone where they can see your good work, my man.
Wrestling Observer Live every Sunday. I host on for Wrestling Observer. I do Mat Men on there. I do with Rich, my co-host of like 25 years in life. We've been co-hosting this show for like ever. and we're Live Pal with Garrett Gonzalez. I do on Tuesdays. Everything over at f4wonline.com.
Boom. Look at that, guys. When I'm not here once a month for Fightful, I am competing with them. So please go over to Shaq Wrestling. Check out my interviews. Just dropped a great one with Bill Goldberg. Some other ones to check out. The Undertaker, Tony Khan, Malachi Black, Wardlow, Eddie Kingston all come to mind. We'll have Liv Morgan this Saturday ahead of next week's SummerSlam. Please make sure you subscribe to Fightful. Support all the amazing things they're doing, not just on their own, but getting everyone involved. Some good blood, you know? We really are the forbidden door of pro wrestling media. Take care, everyone.